LGBT rights and motivation of others. Introduction. Talk about how the rights for the LGBT community are still an issue in our society today. Talk about why the government and the media are involved with this issue. Putting myself out into society and seeing what others think about this topic and why they think this is the way. Research question. Why are LGBTQ rights still an issue of debate? What motivates people to be for or against gay rights? Government involvement. Full faith in Republican guarantees gay marriage, FMPA, and the courts. Heterosexual marriage should be protected, state or federal law. Constitutional amendment. Differences between a heterosexual marriage and domestic partnership. The personal politics of same-sex marriage. Viewing a queer person positively. Personal relationship with a member of the LGBT community can change ballot results. Personal relationship with a queer person can lead to support of same-sex marriage. A journal in LGBTQ world making. Banning same-sex marriage in many states. 2 years allowed all United States and territory to have legal same-sex marriage. Differential effects of the U.S. Supreme Court's same-sex marriage decision on national support for lesbian, gay, and bisexual civil rights and sexual prejudice. Obergefell versus Hodges legalized same-sex marriage. 1 year later, independent sample study to see if they made the right decision in supporting same-sex marriage. A cluster analyst identified 3 worldview groups: conservative 23.6%, moderates 30.2%, and progressives 46.2%. I put these sources in a group under government involvement because each has something to do with the government. These give information on how same-sex marriage is no different than heterosexual marriage. How knowing someone who in the LGBT community can change your view and vote on a ballot. One source also gives some information on how same-sex marriage was banned but then came to all the states. Same-sex marriage. Same-sex marriage, a prescription for a better life. Banning or looking down on same-sex marriage couples. Not being recognized by the government as couples. Same-sex marriage was legalized in 9 states in 2013. From gay marriage controversy to endorsement of same-sex marriage, framing bisexuality in the marriage equality discourse. Changing the language and terms used from gay to same-sex. Years 2004 through 2012, less absent from the media. These sources are being used together because they both have information about when, why, and how same-sex marriage got to be in the United States. These describe the process it took and is relevant because the years they were written in. Last category, men in the LGBT community. Is sexual racism really racism? Distinguishing attitudes towards sexual racism and generic racism among gay and bisexual men. Sexual racism is a specific form of racial prejudice intact in the context of sex or romance. Queer men took online surveys about how acceptable they view online sexual racism. Assess their attitudes towards sexual racism. The source discussed about how men's attitudes that are in the LGBT community are and if they are bothered by the media. Conclusion. Same-sex marriage was legalized. This will be an issue of debate because not everyone agrees and government will be continued to be involved.